on, kill everybody! I'm the champ, I'm the king!
Khamzat is a straight murderer. He's a killer. I've been in this game my whole life. I've never seen anything like him.
I'm gonna take everything from this UFC, bro. Now I am UFC, bro.
Khamzat Chimaev, right? For all any doubts that people had, this man's the real deal. And if you're a welterweight, watch your back.
No, that guy seems scary, though.
He's scary as fuck. He's fun to watch. He comes in with all of this energy, and then he's just got so much confidence.
Khamzat Chimaev, the hype is real.
Of course it's real, brother. It's not hype. King is here, bro.
This guy is an absolute menace of a grappler.
The guy's stuck to you. He's on you. He's on you. And when you fight a guy like Khamzat, you don't feel that until it's live when that bell rings. No matter what the fans are saying, he's the undisputed middleweight champion of the world.
Khamzat Chimaev remarkably does it again!
We have all thought from day one that Jon Jones should just embrace the heel role. He's a young guy in level of power within his own world, fame, fortune.
Think about all the distractions, all the shit that guy's been through. It almost went to jail. Crashing into a pregnant lady's car. He made it back.
People never stopped cheering for him. Very interesting.
Breaking news we have just learned, UFC star Jon Bones Jones is being suspended and stripped of his championship title.
That comes just hours after the UFC's president flew to Albuquerque to learn more about the felony charges Jones faces in connection with a hit-and-run crash.
The other officers, I hate you! I hate you!
So what is that like being Jon? Like, what is that like thinking there isn't another man on the planet?
He's the greatest fighter I've ever seen compete inside the octagon. You look at his ability to push aside the pressure and what's at stake that night.
You know, you really see it in the fights where he's losing. That's where you see how good he is. You gotta have the wildness, you gotta have the physical talent, and you gotta have the brain to understand pathways, to be creative, to take chances, to do things, wild risks like flying knees on Shogun or spinning elbows on Stephan Bonner. Jon's the baddest motherfucker at 205 ever. Jon Jones, no joke. And Jon Jones, like, in shape with something to prove, that's the making.
They could do anything to you in hand-to-hand combat.
Talking about a guy who has gone through the best of the division and done it with flying colors.
Jon Jones is the youngest champion in UFC history!
What if Jon Jones and Khamzat Chimaev ever stood across from each other inside the octagon? Not as a fantasy clip, not as a social media argument, but as a real, sanctioned UFC fight. This isn't just another who would win debate. This is a collision of two completely different forces in MMA history. One is the most accomplished fighter the sport has ever produced. The other is the most violent disruptor the modern era has seen. Jon Bones Jones represents control, precision, experience earned over more than a decade of championship dominance. He is the ultimate problem solver, a fighter who doesn't rely on speed or strength alone, but on timing, instincts, and an unmatched understanding of how fights unfold. Khamzat Chimaev represents chaos, pressure, destruction, a man who enters fights like a storm and refuses to let opponents breathe, think, or survive long enough to adjust. He doesn't download data. He overwhelms you before you can react. If these two ever fought, it wouldn't just be about skills. It would be about whether chaos can break mastery, or whether mastery always finds a way to survive the storm. From the opening bell, the contrast would be obvious. Jones would take the center cautiously, long stance, hands low, eyes calm. He's not rushing anything. He never does. Jones fights at a pace where everything feels uncomfortable for his opponent. His reach, his feints, his kicks to the legs and body are designed to frustrate and gather information. Chimaev, on the other hand, would not wait. He would pressure immediately, no feeling out, no range finding. His goal would be simple: close distance, force contact, and turn the fight into something violent as quickly as possible. Historically, when Chimaev gets his hands on someone early, the fight ends fast. His chain wrestling is relentless, his grip strength suffocating, and his top pressure brutal. This raises the first and biggest question. Can Khamzat Chimaev take Jon Jones down? Jones has faced elite wrestlers before, Olympic-level wrestlers, national champions, men who built their entire careers on takedowns, and none of them were able to dominate him on the ground. Jones's takedown defense isn't flashy, but it's efficient. He uses frames, underhooks, balance, and angles to make every attempt exhausting. If Chimaev shoots early and Jones stuffs it, that moment matters more than people realize, because failed takedowns against Jones don't just cost energy, they create openings. Knees up the middle, elbows on the break, front kicks to the body that slowly drain oxygen. But Chimaev doesn't shoot once. He chains attempts together. If the first fails, he switches levels. If that fails, he presses to the fence. If that fails, he drags you down anyway. This is where the fight becomes dangerous even for someone like Jones. The clinch would be the most critical battlefield. Jones is devastating in close range. His elbows from collar ties, his ability to control wrists, and his creativity inside the clinch have broken champions before. But Chimaev thrives there too. His body locks, trips, and raw physicality could test Jones in ways he hasn't experienced. If Chimaev manages to put Jones on his back early, history could change. Jones has never been dominated on the ground. He has never been held down and punished for extended periods. If Chimaev does that, even briefly, the narrative shifts immediately. But that window may be short. Jones is elite at scrambling. He doesn't panic. He doesn't explode unnecessarily. He waits for openings, creates space, and reverses positions with technique rather than brute force. Against someone as aggressive as Chimaev, that patience becomes dangerous. Now consider the pace. Chimaev is terrifying early. His pressure in the first 2 rounds is among the most intense in MMA. But questions about his gas tank have followed him for years. We've seen him slow. We've seen him breathe heavy. We've seen moments where the explosion fades and fights become harder. Jones lives for those moments. The longer a fight goes, the more dangerous Jones becomes. He starts attacking legs. He starts targeting the body. He changes rhythm. He forces opponents to fight at a pace they didn't prepare for. By round 3 and 4, Jones isn't just winning, he's dismantling. If Chimaev can't finish Jones early, the dynamic changes completely. Jones would begin dictating distance. Front kicks to the body would add up. Oblique kicks would damage movement. Clinch elbows would open cuts. Every exchange would become more calculated, more draining, more one-sided, but the threat never disappears. Chimaev only needs one moment, one clean entry, one successful body lock, one scramble where Jones is slightly off balance. That's what makes this matchup terrifying for both men. Jones has never faced someone who attacks with this level of forward momentum. Chimaev has never faced someone who reads fights this quickly. It becomes a mental war as much as a physical one. Can Chimaev remain disciplined if his early pressure doesn't work? Can Jones survive the initial storm without absorbing unnecessary damage? That first round would likely decide the tone of the entire fight. If Chimaev dominates early, pins Jones down, and forces him to work defensively, confidence shifts. The belief that Jones is untouchable cracks. But if Jones stuffs takedowns, survives clinches, and forces Chimaev to reset repeatedly, frustration sets in. And that's where Jones thrives. There is also the size factor. A heavyweight Jon Jones is stronger, more durable, and harder to move than the light heavyweight version Chimaev would likely face. That alone changes the equation. Every takedown attempt becomes harder. Every clinch exchange costs more energy. And then there's experience. Jones has been in championship fights for over a decade. He's fought legends, rivals, monsters, and men trying to take everything from him. He understands pressure in ways few fighters ever will. Chimaev has raw dominance. Jones has battle-tested wisdom. So, who wins? If Khamzat Chimaev overwhelms Jon Jones early, secures top position, and finishes the fight before it becomes tactical, he could pull off the biggest upset in MMA history. It would redefine legacies overnight. But if Jon Jones survives the early chaos, forces Chimaev into deep waters, and turns the fight into a long, grinding test of endurance and IQ, history suggests Jones finds a way. He always does. This isn't a matchup where there's a clear answer. It's chaos versus calculation, explosion versus endurance, the future versus the greatest past the sport has ever known. We may never see Jon Jones versus Khamzat Chimaev inside a real octagon. But the fact that this debate feels real, that either man could win, is exactly why MMA remains the most unpredictable, brutal and fascinating sport on the planet. And if this fight ever happens, it won't just be a fight. It will be a moment that defines an era.